Hey, happy holidays and welcome to the Wise Guys, the largest BYU sports live stream show in the world and the most watched collegiate sports live stream talk show on YouTube. It's our favorite night of the week.
And it is another big week. Basketball this week with anytime AJ Dybantsa is playing is a big deal. Basketball this evening, big bowl game this week for football against Georgia Tech. So lots going on. We want to remind you that Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union, and is distributed by the Deseret News. You can watch for this week's new podcast tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts.
Right as you're celebrating the holidays, you can just listen to the podcast, and we'll be right there. And we encourage you to subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com, and you can watch all of our past content right there, and would love it if you'd hit the free subscribe button on our YouTube channel. So here's what we've got rocking tonight. A big BYU football announcement. The Irish are coming to Provo.
And we'll get more into it. Can you believe this?
What a way to start the day.
Yeah, after they broke the contract, well, guess what? They're back, and it's much better terms for BYU than the old contract. So we'll talk a little bit more about it. Bowl week, we're going to reveal keys to the game. I've got some keys to the game prepared, and talk about how BYU can beat this Georgia Tech team in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Lots of fun stuff going on this last week of practice in association. Like Pop-Tarts has been present in Provo, very much so. As
they should be, year-round. Christian Rasband, the BYU alumni chapter chair for the Orlando area, is going to join us, keeping with the tradition. When the Cougars go on the road, we talk to the alumni chapter chairs about the events going on, and he's going to bring a very special guest to the show tonight.
Yes, he is. So, BYU Hoops tonight, Eastern Washington. What's AJ going to do tonight? Does he go for 40 tonight, Dave?
He's going to do something.
He could.
You can't not watch.
Well, and then there's other big news with BYU with a new player that could play tonight. We're going to talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah.
And if he plays tonight, how much do they play him?
It's like Santa Claus dropped a 6'10" center.
Yeah.
It's a Merry Christmas.
In a big physical rim runner, rim protector, which you and I have been saying for the last several weeks as we've been doing games. Okay, what happens if KB gets in foul trouble? Yeah. Do they have another bit? There's not another big. Who's going to rebound? Is this team going to be able to keep defensive, get the defensive glass? So we'll talk a little bit about that. But this is a big news item for BYU basketball.
Our Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week's coming up too, and you'll go, duh. Yeah, when do we announce that one?
Of course.
But
have any of them not been duh? Have any of them not been duh yet?
This is like a duh.
Yeah, this
one.
is it. Yeah.
We remind you, Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs. They got over 150 distribution facilities across the country and over 6,000 employees, and you can learn more about what they do at bradyplus.com. They're big supporters of BYU.
And Wise Guys is also presented by Eddie. That's HR and payroll software built for small businesses. Whether you run a dental office in Spanish Fork, Utah, or a construction crew in Lehigh, Eddie helps you hire, onboard, track time, and run payroll all in one place. Simple, local, reliable, built by business owners who believe people come first. See how Eddie can serve you and your team at Eddie.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, or managing daily expenses, Mountain America has the tools, technology, and guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you at MACU.com. We love their support of this show, and I love when you walk into the stadium and you see these companies up there on the stadium walls, and you also see them on our wall. I love that.
They're all about supporting BYU athletics, and they've been great to support this show, which in essence is supporting the BYU community and our Wise Guys family all around the world, because these are who bring this to you for free so that you can join us and watch all of this. So our Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at Redmond.com.
Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. Let's jump into some football. BYU and Notre Dame announce a home-and-home scheduling agreement today. It'll bring the Irish to Provo next season, and will take the Cougars to South Bend in 2027. The Irish replace their historic rivalry with USC with BYU, at least for the next 2 years.
Yeah, and which is really interesting because if you remember, BYU had a longer series, but it was 2 games in South Bend, a game in Provo, 2 games in South Bend, a game in Provo, and they never finished that series out. They bought BYU out of that series, and now here we are back, and this time it's home and home. And I'm really interested because we know that USC, who's a big rival of Notre Dame, is not on the schedule until after 2030. So is there a chance that they work something out and this becomes a home and home from now until 2030?
It'd be great.
I think it's a perfect rivalry.
Be great for both teams.
It's 2 faith-based institutions. Both used to be independent. Notre Dame's still independent. Notre Dame looking to strengthen the non-conference. Look what happened to them this year. Had they played BYU in the preseason and won, they'd have been in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think it would be really, really good for both schools, and I think there's some interest in doing that. How fun would that be if this became a regular home and home as a non-conference game?
Well, listen to this. Here's the 2026 schedule. And there are 7 home games this year, or next year. Notre Dame, Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports is reporting that would be in October. We haven't had any confirmation on that, but that's out there. Other home games, Arizona State, Iowa State, Arizona, Baylor, Cincinnati, and Utah Tech. 5 road games next year, Utah, Colorado State, Kansas, TCU, and UCF. That's going to be an awesome 2026. And then in 2027, it even gets a little tougher.
Yeah, 6 home games in 2027. Texas Tech, Utah, Colorado, Kansas, and Oregon State, and then Weber State. So Oregon State, Weber State, the 2 non-conference home games. Road games, Notre Dame, Arizona State, Houston, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia.
Sign me up.
I have to say this, though. When I look at that 2026 schedule, it's a tough schedule. There's no easy schedules in the league, right? No. And we never know because teams we thought were going to be great this last year weren't great, and teams we didn't know about ended up being much better, like Houston is a for instance. Right. But if you just look at, and you know who's coming back on these teams, I like the BYU's home versus away schedule. I feel like the away schedule is a much better away schedule than they had this year. I think they're set up for success, especially when you got a quarterback coming back that's now going to be a veteran as a sophomore. And you got a bunch of linemen coming. And the defense BYU is coming back next year is loaded. So I like the 2026 schedule. I think they have a chance to be very good and win a lot of games next year.
When you look ahead to 27,
that's scarier.
Texas Tech is coming to Provo. And they're the team everybody's chasing, and BYU is right behind them. So the 2 powerhouses meet at LaVell Edwards Stadium.
Well, Meyer is a very good coach. We know that. We have realized this, and they're not going to run out of any NIL money anytime soon.
No. At
Texas Tech, and they showed that with NIL. There can be much more balance in college football. That the Texas Techs can compete with the Alabamas, and I don't know about you, Dave, but I'm absolutely rooting for Texas Tech to win the national championship.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I hope they stick it to Oregon and just keep going.
Yep, I hope so too.
What I hope they don't do is get stuck by Oregon.
Yeah, that would be good.
With a thud.
Yep.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl is Saturday. BYU and Georgia Tech. Cougars number 12. Yellow Jackets are number 22. BYU Sports Nation Game Day starts at 11:30 Mountain Time on BYU TV and ESPN Plus with all the guys. It'll be fun to get together over the holidays. The game itself's at 1:30 Mountain on ABC. The post-game show back on the BYU TV app and ESPN Plus. Outside of the playoff lineup, which is really good now as they're getting into the bowls and the second round of the playoff. This is it. This is the best game out there in the postseason.
Yeah, this is 2 years in a row that outside of the CFP, BYU will be playing in the most competitive, eyes-on bowl game in the postseason. So last year it was the Alamo Bowl. 8 million eyeballs on that one. And this year it will be the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Remember, Georgia Tech was they got up as high as number 7 early in the season when they started out, and then had a little bit of slide toward the end of the year, but a very talented team from the ACC. This will be fun with a great quarterback, by the way.
The series, it's the 4th meeting. That's it. BYU leads it 3-1. Their last game, 2013. The Cougars won 38-20 in Provo. Vegas has BYU favored by about 4.5. The weather is going to be awesome, sunny and 78 degrees. It's been nice here in Utah, but winter's coming for us. It is not coming for Orlando. The Cougars are going to be in those white helmets with the Pop-Tart sprinkles and then royal blue, some kind of configuration. Georgia Tech already announced they're in all whites. with the Pop-Tart helmets. It's the sprinkles of the
white,
Pop-Tarts.
everything with gold, that really nice gold trim.
It's going to be a nice color clash between
it'll be great.
the blue and the white. The payout, $6 million, second highest payout in program history for BYU in a bowl game. Last year was the record, $8 million.
Yeah, we'll take that.
That's $14 million in 2 years. I don't think they'd made $14 million in 25 bowls.
No, there are a lot of bowls that paid less than $1 million that they played in over the years.
So here are Blaine's 3 keys for a BYU victory on Saturday.
Yeah, so my number 1 key is to stop Georgia Tech's quarterback run game with Haynes King. Phenomenal running quarterback. You have to make them, and he's a capable thrower, but you have to make him one-dimensional. When you think of Georgia Tech, think of Utah with a better throw game. That sounds scary. They don't have the offensive line that Utah has that just knocks people crazy. Outland Trophy winner Spencer Fano on that line with the other draft picks. So they're not quite as physical up front as Utah is. But the quarterback, you know how with Dampier, they just quarterback called runs, like quarterback power, quarterback counter, like not options, just run the quarterback. Georgia Tech does a lot of that. And then they do a bunch of stuff off of that in the throw game. Play action, they do run some run-pass option stuff. He's a much better thrower than Dampier. Like, I'm just saying that. Like, people get mad at me when I say that. He is. Yeah. He's a much better thrower than Dampier. Dampier's a little bit better runner. But this quarterback comes in averaging 245 yards throwing the ball and 84 yards running the ball each game. He's their leading passer and their leading rusher. Take him out of the run game. It limits what they do in the pass game, and that's number 1.
Okay, that's a good key. Number 2.
Number 2 is win the turnover margin battle. BYU needs to be +1 or better in turnover margin, because if you give Georgia Tech short fields, and that gives scores to this team, whether it's field goals or touchdowns, they like to control the ball, and they run the ball, and they do all that. You have limited possessions. If you give those away, you're at risk for losing the football game. +1 or better in turnover margin.
Okay, and number 3?
Number 3 is get some explosive plays on offense in this game. BYU in that game against Texas Tech in the championship game didn't push the ball upfield. I'd like to see 2 to 3 plays of 30-plus yards out of this offense to shorten the field on a couple of drives. Get a big play, make the field short, get the defense on their heels, and go score a touchdown. 2 to 3 30-plus yard explosive plays. Push the ball upfield, which will open things up to be able to run the football and do some of those things in the bowl game better.
All right, those are Blaine's 3 keys for a BYU victory Saturday in the Pop-Tarts Bowl against Georgia Tech. 7 turnovers against Texas Tech in those 2 games. Didn't generate any. That is the key. I'm looking right there at number 2 on your key.
Yeah, number 2 might be the most important. I don't know that I listed those in order, because certainly turnover margin battle is number 1.
Couple of interesting notes. Matt Mitchell, the BYU quarterback coach, leaving to join Jim Mora's staff at Colorado State as the quarterback coach. He's been really good for BYU's group. Potential replacements. Max Hall's name's kicked around as he's told us he's finished his degree and is looking for an opportunity to move up here and do something. And it seems like a natural moment to get a quarterback as a quarterback's coach, even though Mitchell's been fantastic.
Yeah, Mitchell's been, people don't understand. Matt Mitchell came to BYU. He's been to a bunch of different places. He was at Notre Dame and was a quarterback's coach there. He was at several places before he came to BYU and coached quarterbacks. And he did a great job. He had the primary responsibility. He allowed A-Rod to focus on being the coordinator and game planning and all of that kind of stuff. And when it came to technique and film and all of that kind of stuff, that's what Matt Mitchell was responsible for. And Jim Mora knows that. Like, the people behind the scene, I don't know the BYU's fan base knows that, but the people behind the scenes do. And Jim Mora's like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of guy I need over here at Colorado State to coach my quarterback. So congratulations to Matt.
You bet.
And BYU needs, this is not a role you can go, well, do they even need to, they have to get somebody to backfill this role.
Absolutely. Speaking of quarterbacks in the Big 12, I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but here are those who are entering the transfer portal or considering the NFL draft, or both, but they've made indications that they don't plan to come back to their original schools, which they still could do. Brendan Sorsby of Cincinnati, Rocco Becht, Iowa State, Sam Levitt, Arizona State, Josh Hoover, TCU. It's a who's who of big-name quarterbacks in the Big 12. And if all of them actually leave the league, Sorsby's talked about if he doesn't go to the NFL, he's going to go to Texas Tech. But if they all just go somewhere else, that leaves Bear Bachmeier as the senior statesman, as a sophomore, just like that.
Isn't that crazy? And it's interesting who we're here. It's like Sorsby's saying, hey, I want to be in the NFL. So we'll see what happens with that. But if he's not, Texas Tech, Think about that. They need it. He'd be great there.
He would be
with
fantastic.
all the weapons they have. And then Sam Levitt. I'm hearing LSU for Sam Levitt.
And Beck seems to be maybe following his coach to Penn State.
It's
and
exactly
I don't know what Hoover's doing.
I haven't heard anything about Josh Hoover, about where he's going, but you're exactly right with Rocco following his coach, who's the new head coach at Penn State, Matt Campbell. So really interesting stuff in the league.
Our resident quarterback, Taysom Hill, had quite a Sunday with the Saints.
Yes.
He was 1 for 1 through a 38-yard touchdown. Then he rushed 12 times for 42, and he caught 4 passes for 36. A lot of folks think that was his final home game with the Saints. He was very emotional in his post-game news conference. But here's what he did yesterday. He became the only NFL player with over 1,000 yards passing, rushing, and receiving in the Super Bowl era. Is that enough to get him into the Hall of Fame?
If you're one of one, wouldn't you think? I mean, a lot of people talk about it. It's like nobody has ever done what he has done in the National Football League. He's the only one that's ever done that. That's that versatile. He certainly is. You know, we talk about players. Oh, he's the Swiss Army knife. Taysom Hill is the Swiss Army knife of the NFL of all time. I would think you would get in the Hall of Fame for that.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. The last time BYU faced Georgia Tech, Taysom was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the Cougars rolled, as we mentioned.
And he ran and threw all over.
20.
He didn't catch any passes in that game, but he did run and throw all over.
Threw a bomb to Cody Hoffman for the ages. We congratulate Taysom and look forward to catching up with him. The Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Tonight, it's our pleasure to announce AJ Dybantsa as this week's honoree. Jane Hedegren was our first 2-time winner, but AJ is the first to win back-to-back Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week titles, and what a week he had.
Oh, my goodness. AJ combined for 61 points in those 2 basketball games. He made 17 of 26 shots from the field, 23 of 28 free throws. He had 16 boards, and he dished out 6 assists. Now, Friday night against Abilene Christian, the freshman scored a career-high 35. He went 17 of 20 from the line. They could not stay in front of him without fouling him. And he also had that putback dunk that ranked number 2 on SportsCenter's top 10.
It was awesome.
I thought it was I thought it should have been 1.
Yeah.
One of the best any of us have ever seen in the Marriott Center, that's for sure. So here's a crazy stat about his basketball IQ. AJ's played 171 minutes and 34 seconds without picking up a foul.
Now think about that.
And it's not like he's not playing defense. Like he's really, really active on the defensive end. He's getting blocks, he's getting steals, he's getting rebounds. So it's not like he doesn't have any, like he has all of these stats that would indicate his effort level is high on defense. His last foul came with 16 minutes remaining in the second half against Dayton. That's back on November 28th.
That's unbelievable. He's the leading rusher on the team, or leading rebounder on the team, and he does it without fouling.
He's so long and he's so athletic and he's so smart. It actually is amazing that you can play that many minutes in a college basketball game, not just stumble into somebody and get a foul.
Crazy.
Amazing.
You can watch our Wise Guys interview with his parents, Chelsea and Ace, at wiseguys.com. By the way, we got a comment I want to share with you. We read all the comments that you put on our YouTube videos, so we encourage you to keep doing that. But this one from Card Collector 0385. Great parents lead to great children. You can tell how involved they are in their children's lives. Wouldn't it be great if all parents took this much stock in their children's life, education, and spiritual growth? So thankful that AJ came to BYU. He's not only a great basketball player, but a wonderful person inside and out. He has the light of Christ. God bless them and their children. That comment left on our YouTube video. So, hey, leave comments on our YouTube videos. We like reading those.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And we'll share them too.
And all right on the money as well. So we'll see AJ and Chelsea tonight at the basketball game, and we'll tell them, we'll mention that comment to them. They'll put a smile on their face for sure.
AJ Dybantsa is our Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret's in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And yeah, tonight we're going to see him do something else. It's going to go, wow, I can't believe he just did that. And we'll have the call for you on ESPN Plus at 7 o'clock. Our campus notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. BYU Pathway makes truly affordable, fully online, spiritual-based college degrees accessible to folks worldwide through greatly reduced tuition, weekly peer gatherings, and English support, helping students earn sooner, increase their income, and deepen their faith. Learn more at byupathway.edu. Let's start with men's hoops.
Yeah, 11-1. National ranking of number 10. That's the AP poll right now in the AP Top 25. By the way, the league is unbelievable again this year. Arizona's number 1. Iowa State is 3. Houston is 8. BYU's 10. Texas Tech with a big win the other night, 15. Kansas is 17. BYU's net, which is the primary sorting tool for the NCAA tournament, is number 9. So you think about that. 9 is just, they'd be the top 3 seed in the tournament right now if the net were, stayed solid. So I have a feeling that before it's all said and done, there'll be a 2 seed, and who knows, maybe they can play them way into a 1 seed, but at least a 2 seed in that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So they defeated Abilene Christian the other night, 85-67. I mentioned AJ's 35 points. Richie, by the way, just quietly went out and scored 21.
Quiet 21.
Yeah, which is amazing. He just never seems to not be on. He always gets it done. And they defeated Pacific 93-57. Richie had 24 in that game. AJ had 23, and Rob Wright added 22. So all 3 of the big 3, as we like to call them, were 22 plus in that game. Up next, tonight, Eastern Washington at BYU. That's at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus. You and I will be on the call for ESPN Plus tonight.
There's a big development ahead of this game, and it's also our Cougar Board question of the week. Abdullah Ahmad will debut as on the Cougars. Whether he plays or not, we're going to find out together. Mm-hmm. But the 6'10 center played the last 2 years in the G League for the Westchester Knicks, averaged 3.8 points and 4.6 rebounds. The NCAA gave G League players the option to return to college. They're not making that much money there, and you can
make more in college.
Yeah. So he took him up on it. His final choices were BYU and Houston. He picked the Blue Cougars. Abdullah is a native of Cairo, Egypt, 22 years old, 3 years of eligibility. Again, starting tonight, and that leads us to our Cougar Board question of the week. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans, thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Curdy, one of their insider subscribers, and she writes, Abdullah Ahmed said he's playing in tonight's game. How do you see his addition changing things up for the Cougs?
And we talked about it a little bit earlier. He's a big body that's really athletic, and he's very physical. So his reputation is he's a rim runner, meaning he'll run from rim to rim. He'll finish on a fast break at the rim. If he's the trail guy, he'll go get an offensive rebound and put it back. So he really runs the floor well at 6'10", but he's also very physical, and he's known as a rim protector, meaning he can play in the interior defense. He'll rotate over and help and block shots at the rim. If they're pick and rolling, and he's the help defender, if a guard turns the corner, gets the rim, he'll go over and check that shot. These are all the things that Kaba does, and we've been asking all year, man, what if Kaba has foul trouble in a game, or heaven forbid gets hurt or something? BYU doesn't have another guy like him, and in this league, you need to have 2 or 3 guys like him, and this is the answer. So that's what he's going to do. I will be very interested to see how much he plays tonight, because they've got 1 preseason game left.
This is it. Tonight,
before they get into Big 12 play at Kansas State next week, and so here we go. Let's see what they do with him.
We're going to ask Kevin Young during our pregame meeting whether or not he went over to the mall and saw Santa Claus and asked for a 6'10 center.
He got one.
To arrive ready to go before Christmas, and we'll see Abdullah Ahmed tonight. If nothing else, he'll be warming up and a chance to physically see this new addition to the basketball team. Women's hoops is 12-1 on the season, 1-0 in the Big 12. They went to Orlando and beat UCF 71-50 in the Big 12 opener. Delaney Gibb back for the first time since November 15th. Her leg has healed. She scored a dozen to lead the Cougars. And now up next on New Year's Eve, so there's a little break now for women's hoops, but number 8 TCU at 13-0 comes in to play BYU at 12-1. December 31st at 7 o'clock Mountain Time on ESPN+. That'll be the last BYU sporting event of 2025.
That's right. And keep in mind, Delaney had those 12 points. She played 16 minutes.
Yeah.
So she just came back in great form, but they just gave her limited minutes to bring her back and not overdo it. So as she integrates back in, as good as they were without her, and they figure one another out and how to play together, I expect this team to do just fine in the Big 12 this year.
She's their star, and nice to see her back shining.
So women's volleyball, Sully Davis, we found out, remember she was in the transfer portal. She's transferring to SMU.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and isn't SMU's coach a former BYU guy?
Yeah, and she's from that area.
Right, she's from down there.
But it's still a bummer.
Yeah. First team all Big 12, Big 12 freshman of the year. And BYU's in the search for a new head coach right now.
So those are the campus notes presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. With the Cougars returning to Florida, it's our pleasure to welcome Christian Rasband, the BYU Alumni Chapter Chair for the Orlando area, and his dad, Elder Ronald A. Rasband of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who also sits on the Board of Trustees. Happy holidays to the both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Happy holidays. Thanks for having us. Great to be with you today.
We've got a lot of...
Happy to join with my son.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
We got a snowmobiling question for the two of you, but that's going to come in just a few minutes.
Are these some granddaughters that we see in the background, Elder Rasband?
Yeah, I've just had a sweet little luncheon here with some of my family, and they came in to see me, and they're all Cougar fans.
Hey,
we
guys.
love that. Hey, guys, welcome to the show, everybody.
Now we have a record of 5 Rasbands on
That's
the show
right.
tonight.
We've never had 5. We've never had 5 for sure.
Never had 5.
No, it's 7.
Is there
Come here,
7?
Shannon.
Shannon, get in there. What are you doing?
Okay.
There we go.
Now, there they all are.
The whole gang is there.
Dave.
Hey, Dave.
And there's my wife, Sister Rasband.
There we go. Sister Rasband is joining the show. We're so glad to have you all on with us. This is great.
We've kind of bombed your show today. I'm sorry.
We love it. Well, Christian, since the Cougars are starting in your neighborhood in Florida, let's start with you and the alumni activities that you and your group are putting together ahead of Saturday's Pop-Tarts Bowl. What can you tell us?
We're so excited that BYU ended up coming here to Orlando for their bowl game. We have been prepping hard for the last few weeks. Usually we have about 8 months to prep for a tailgate, and we have about 2 to 3 weeks for this one. But we're going to put on a great party here in Orlando. BYU calls it a party with a purpose. And so we're going to be joining at Jones High School, which is address 750 Rio Grande Avenue here in Orlando. It's a high school that's just basically right across the street from the stadium, so it's going to be excellent. People can park, they can walk over to the tailgate, and then walk right over to the game. Super convenient, and we're thinking we're going to have north of 3,000 people at our tailgate, which is just going to be incredible. It's going to be a great gathering, but one of the big things about these tailgates, like I said, a party with a purpose. So we are going to be doing a great Cougs Care project where we're going to be benefiting Catholic charities. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has actually been incredibly generous in backing this and wanting to partner in doing this good and giving this service to the local community here in Orlando. And so they have 1,000 hygiene kits, and I put my eyes on these. There were 4 pallets for these hygiene kits, and then they're also sending 40,000 pounds of food for this service project, and we hope to add another about 10,000 pounds of food at the tailgate. So it's going to be a great outreach to Catholic Charities that does a lot of great work here in the Central Florida area, and we're really looking forward to it.
Christian, the BYU and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is, I don't know if notorious is the right word. They have a great reputation of when they come into town, they leave a place better than they found it. And this collaboration with Catholic Charities, what's their reception been like as you've partnered with them to get this all going?
Yeah, they've the church and Catholic Charities actually has a really wonderful relationship here in the Central Florida area, and so there's been a lot of projects leading up to this. So the church knows all the leaders of this organization, and when we knew that we were going to be wanting to partner with a charity, it was a very, very easy connection to choose Catholic Charities because, like I said, they just do so much good here in the Central Florida area, and they have a lot of great connections with people who are in need. And so we're gonna try and help partner with them to help those people at this time of year.
It feels like you should get some credit for bringing the BYU Notre Dame series to fruition that we just talked about a few minutes ago. Nice job. So you got the whole thing coming together.
Yeah, we started with the Catholic Charities, and it took us right to Notre Dame. It was perfect.
Perfect.
Elder Rasband, through your church assignment, we've watched you get very involved with BYU sports, your interactions with the students and both the fans and the student athletes. How much fun has it been for you to be around these kids?
It's been remarkable. I had really no idea that when I was given this assignment in church education that I'd have such a wonderful opportunity to associate with the athletic programs. So it's been a bonus for me all the way. And add to that, I can involve my Cougar fan children to participate with us. It's been just marvelous. I've loved it, and hopefully I've been able to do a little bit of good while I've been involved.
You know, this football team under Kalani Sitake is 22-4, Elder Rasband, over the last 2 seasons, which is remarkable. And I know that you've offered more than one pregame speech, and I'm wondering, do you have a favorite where you felt like, man, you left and you thought, I was really on my game on this one. I really motivated these guys. Do you have a favorite pregame speech, a game that you spoke to the team before at?
Yeah, I've got 2 that come to my mind. One was I gave them a message about what David O. McKay said on his mission when he said one time he ran across a Shakespeare statue, and it said, "Whate'er thou art, act well thy part." And I said that to the football team, whether they were starters or second position or third position or trainers or whatever they did, the coaching staff, "Whate'er thou art, act well thy part." And that was one of my favorite pregame speeches. The second one that I gave followed that one the next year, and it was, I didn't think that was good enough to say, "Whate'er thou art, act well thy part." I said in the scriptures, the Savior said to multiply your talents and to add to them. And so if you're great, don't sit on those laurels, but multiply them and become better than you were before. And the team really liked that one too. So those were 2 that come to mind.
Have you got something special planned for Saturday? Have you been saving something up for the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
That is a very good question, and I have not settled on it yet. I kind of need to get there on Friday and feel the vibes of the team, and then I need to know if Kalani even wants me to. I don't ever just do it. I do it if he invites me, and if he does, I'll have something to say.
Yeah, I think he's going to.
Yeah,
he's 22-4 with your speeches. I think he's going to.
Elder Ronald A. Rasband of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Christian Rasband, the BYU Alumni Chapter Chair for the Orlando area, are on the Wise Guys tonight with us. Elder Rasband, how important are sports at BYU to the Board of Trustees, especially considering how things have changed in recent years with NIL, the transfer portal, the challenge to retain coaches? That college athletic landscape has really, really changed. And what role in your mind does college athletics play?
I like what Chris said in his message to you at the beginning, how they have been very informed and involved in providing a tremendous service project. And as you brethren know, as you've traveled with the team, you know that in some of the cities we've had BYU TV there to run stories about the opposing team, about people on their team. The church has gone out of its way to try and build great sportsmanship. And this is done through offering service, and especially in an era where there have been some chants against BYU at certain facilities. BYU wants to be the absolute opposite of that. We want to be the best in sportsmanship. We want to be the best at loving our brother and our fellow man. And so the church is happy to be able to work through BYU athletics to be able to do this. There's no question that it's a difficult environment with this NIL season. Mm-hmm. and BYU, you've done interviews with Kalani, with Brian, with Keith Vorkink, with Shane Reese, with Elder Gilbert. You know that the church is committed to our mission. And the mission is always going to be first with the church, whether it be any of the athletic programs. And the minute we lose sight of our mission to bring souls to Jesus Christ, to have our student athletes know what that mission is, we will have lost sight of what our real mission is. So NIL just forces us to be more focused, laser focused on making sure that we put our mission first in everything that we do.
Elder Rasband, when AJ Dybantsa, Bear Bachmeyer, and Jane Hedegren headline a freshman class of dynamic athletes, BYU's a very special place, and everyone seems to know it, both for members of the church and for those who come here from other faiths. And it seems to support one of your favorite slogans, "The world is our campus." What does that mean to you?
Well, it means that BYU is spreading its wings. It is not only appealing to the Latter-day Saint athletes, but it's appealing to all athletes. Each of those players that you mentioned were attracted to BYU not because of the price tag or not because of money, but because they felt something different on the BYU campus. And we're proud of that, and we're grateful for the honor code. And we don't hide from it, and we don't hide it from our athletes. We want them to know everything that we are. And if they don't feel comfortable, then they should go somewhere else. But BYU has a mission. We have a purpose. We want our student athletes, whether they be members of our faith or not members of our faith, to embrace the mission and the message of BYU. And that is spreading all over the world.
Well said. Hey, we saw you and Elder David A. Bednar at the Big 12 championship game, and we were impressed. You guys were throwing the football around together. There's some good tight spirals in that game of catch. So were you a high school quarterback growing up, or were you more of a side yard sandlot quarterback?
Well, definitely. My son could answer that. I was the sandlot quarterback. And for years, even this year on turkey bowls at Thanksgiving, I was throwing to members of my family and missionaries that happened to be joining in. And I was never a high school or college quarterback, but I was definitely a very fun and engaged sandlot quarterback. What do you think, Christian?
Well, I would say maybe not a high school quarterback, but an MVP dad quarterback. We spent hours and hours in the backyard and walks and anywhere you can imagine, throwing a ball back and forth. And so he's perfected some of those skills and throwing them to his son and to his grandkids. And it's always fun when we can get him to do that.
Look, that over-the-top release reminded us a lot of Mark Wilson, to be honest.
I mean, I didn't break down the footwork because, I was just so taken by the nice tight spiral that he was throwing that I didn't even go down and try to break down the footwork, but I thought it was pretty good.
Well, that's really a compliment coming from you guys that break down everybody's every move, and to think that you were even considering how I threw that ball is really happy news for me.
Heck yeah. Hey, before we get to keys to the game, tell us about this Christian Rasband over there in Orlando doing so many good things for his family and his career and for BYU alumni. And I know you have 3 daughters, and then came the boy. Give us some of your feelings of Christian.
Well, we have 4 beautiful daughters.
Okay.
And Christian is our 5th and only son. And he has been for Melanie, my wife, and I, just a treasure and a joy. For me, I got to do all of my athletic dreams with him. and he, a good alumni of BYU, living down there in Florida, and probably one of the very few of Cougar Nation that was very happy that BYU was coming to Orlando for the Pop-Tarts Bowl and not to a CFP game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be very happy to be there to spend a couple of days, not only with the BYU football team, but with Chris, his sweet wife, Mo, and their 8 children. Wow. 8 of our grandchildren are in Orlando.
That's
so
awesome.
Very happy.
So Grandpa's coming to Orlando, and Grandma, and it's going to be, and the Cougars. That's like a trifecta. That's
like we talk about prolific athletes all the time. Christian is prolific in his family. That's a prolific family, man.
Nice job, Christian. Okay, let's get 3 keys to a BYU win on Saturday. And I know the two of you have conspired on these. So, Christian, let's start with you, and then we'll finish with Elder Rasband.
Well, I'll tell you that Elder Rasband and I have become quite well. I've reeled Elder Rasband in. He was raised a U of U fan. I was as well, but I will tell you that going to BYU and watching them over the years, I'm about as big of a BYU fan as you can find out there. And so,
Christian, everybody loves a conversion story.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Now we talk about those all the time in our faith, but this is one of the great conversion stories because I know that your father, Elder Rasband, and Elder Huntsman were big Utes. So the fact that you were able to convert him over to the light is impressive.
Well, I got to be careful in saying he's still a big Utah fan. He has a lot of love for both schools, so I don't want to anger another fan base by saying that they've lost Elder Rasband by any means. But
Chris, you are so wise in making that comment. Thank you very much.
Well done.
He's definitely fallen in love with the BYU community, and so in also, you talk about conversion story. Our kids and the next generation, we have to convert as well. I've had some very special moments at 2 a.m. watching some miracle plays at the end of some of these football games the last couple of years with my children, and half the family's asleep in another part of the house, and all of a sudden we're cheering and screaming at 2 a.m., waking everybody up. And there's a lot of young BYU fans that are born in those moments as well. So.
Fantastic
Good stuff.
That's training up a child right there. Train them up.
All right, so keys to the game. So I think the first key to the game is definitely leaning into LJ Martin. I think he needs to be the offensive MVP of this game for us, just like he was last year at the bowl game. Mm-hmm. You know, BYU is a top 25 rushing team in the nation, and Georgia Tech is the 103rd nationally in rushing yards allowed per game. And so I think it sets up nicely for LJ to have a big day, and I think he's going to need to have a big day for us to walk out with a W.
That's a good one.
So establish the run. And by the way, Sione Moa, I just talked to him the other day. He'll be back for the bowl, which will also be helpful. So
Okay, number 2.
Number 2, I'm going to say, and this one's kind of cliche, but I think it's still the right answer, is we got to win the turnover battle. BYU on the year is +8 in the turnover margin, and Georgia Tech is -7. So on paper, it should be a strength for us, but I think that to get the W, we need to walk out having won the turnover battle on Saturday.
Okay.
That's very predictive for BYU, for sure. That's a good one.
Elder Rasband, number 3. The third key to winning the Pop-Tarts Bowl on Saturday.
We need to play Saturday like we played in the Alamo Bowl a year ago. To me, I was at that game. I've been to a few since. I've watched a few, even from around the world where I've traveled. I think we reached a pinnacle of team excellence in the Alamo Bowl. And I suggest to you that we've got to have a team game on Saturday where everybody does their best. We work together as a team, and we beat Georgia Tech.
All right. Those are 3 great keys.
Kalani always says, do your job and trust the neighbor next to you to do their job. And if everybody does their job, we win as a team. So that's what is that it in a nutshell, Elder Rasband?
That's what I'm saying. You use better words. Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Perfect. I love it. So
hey, our final question for both of you, and we sure enjoy having on the Wise Guys. We know you both love to snowmobile. So if there was a snowmobiling Grand Prix in Utah's backcountry, which of you two would finish first? And you can go back to particular times in your life when you might feel like you were the prime
at your best
snowmobiler, but who wins the snowmobiling Grand Prix between you two?
Well, I think younger Ronnie Rasband. I think he would He'd have a great horse in that race. He grew up doing that. He's been tinkering with them with his friends from when they were young, and every weekend they'd be out there. It was just the joy of my childhood to be able to, on a nice snowy Saturday, to be able to go up in the mountains and enjoy snowmobiling with my father. And so I sure love it and love getting out there with him and doing that anytime I can. I'll tell you, in the last few years when we were going to go, the church had to scour the security team to try and find somebody who had snowmobiling experience that could go with us, so he would still have somebody out there with us in case anything happened. But wow, we've loved that our whole life, and I think from what I hear, being in wonderful sunny Florida, I don't think you guys have gotten the best snow out there yet. So
Not
hoping
yet.
to be able to get that so I can find a good weekend and come out and enjoy that with my dad.
Elder Rasband, it feels like Christian has conceded first place to you, so congratulations.
Well, let me assure you, he's conceding first place to a younger me. He is an animal on a snowmobile now, and there is no way that I would have a hard time even keeping up with him. But in an earlier day, when he was a teenager and I was a little bit younger and a little bit more wild, we had the best of times together on snowmobiles.
That's fantastic.
I love that.
That's a great Christmas story. Merry Christmas to the both of you, and thank you for being on our show. And have a great time in Orlando with the family and the game, and obviously before that, have a wonderful Christmas holiday. Thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you, and we wish the same to the two of you and to all your Cougar fans. They've been an unbelievable support to this team through this year, and we hope it continues on Saturday.
Very good.
Thank you.
And it's great to meet the rest of your family, Elder Rasband.
Yes.
So we set a personal record of Rasbands on the Wise Guys, and it felt
Yes, you
right.
did, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Elder Ronald
Goodbye.
A. Rasband of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and his son Christian, who is the BYU Alumni Chapter Chair in Orlando. And you heard how busy they are getting ready for thousands of BYU fans coming to Orlando for the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That was awesome.
Yeah, so fun. I like how Christian just defaulted to Elder Rasband on the snowmobile question. It's like, no, he's better.
That's what a smart son
Yeah,
does.
I don't know if my sons would say, yeah, back when Dad was in his prime, he probably would have been better at football than us. They don't say that.
No, that was good.
Actually, they all agree that I was a better quarterback than any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but they're better athletes. So,
well, that was great. And L.J. Martin winning the turnover battle and play like they did in the Alamo Bowl. They were tenacious in that Alamo Bowl. Those are the keys from the Rasbands on how to win on Saturday.
Yeah, those are good. All good. Mm-hmm. And the run game going to be really important for BYU because that helps Bear get the throw game going. Play action stuff.
Absolutely. So. All right, a couple of promos here. We want to talk about Cougar Tribe for a second.
Yeah. So Wise Guys has a new community, and this is a community experience coming that we're excited about. It's called Cougar Tribe, and Cougar Tribe is going to give us a home base where fans can interact all week long, enjoy exclusive content you won't get anywhere else, and it's free to join. For those of you right here in Utah, we'll be hosting occasional in-person Cougar Tribe meetings and events. We're going to have details coming. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now on when and how you can sign up during our future shows, but it's going to be free to be part of this. And we just want to bring this Wise Guys Cougar fan family together and give you more opportunities to interact with one another, to interact with us. And we're really, really excited to launch this in the new year.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to take us to the next level, and we're going to take everybody with us, which we enjoy. Here's a holiday idea. We want you to, we invite you to sign up to our ad-free podcast. $8 a month, $7 a month if you do the yearly plan. That's $2 or less per episode, and this gets rid of the ads as you're listening to the podcast. And that's a very cool thing to just be able to listen to these interviews as they were meant to be, instead of all of a sudden in the middle. Here comes an advertisement. It's also a Christmas gift for the Wise Guys fan in your life, and gifting's easy. Just select Give as a gift, and it goes straight to their inbox. Just go to wiseguys.supercast.com to subscribe or to gift it to someone you love. Again, wiseguys.supercast.com, or a link on our website page at wiseguys.com. So we invite you to check that out. We can tell you, because the basketball game's coming up and you and I are on the call, that we are going to see that big fella.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes tonight.
Yeah, we'll see.
But BYU's going to roll out a 6'10" center this evening.
I'm so excited to see him play.
In just a few minutes.
I've seen some film of him in the G League. He's physical and he can run. And once he figures out what his role is, I think it's going to be a big addition for BYU. So tonight's the unveiling of a big addition.
Yeah, going to be exciting. And it's just a few minutes away, and you and I will be on the call on ESPN+. Let's roll out of here on this day, December 22nd.
Let's start in 1882.
Okay.
The first string of Christmas lights was created by Thomas Edison. Of course it was created by Thomas Edison.
On this day in 1882. Fast forward to 1958, the Chipmunk song, Christmas Don't Be Late. You hear it on the radio all the time. That topped the music charts. Exactly. Yep. And it's a classic.
1978, BYU played in the very first Holiday Bowl against Navy.
On this day.
Yeah. And they lost to Navy 23-16.
On this day in 2007, Ethan Manumaleuna blocks a field goal as time expires to give BYU a 17-16 victory against UCLA in the Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, and my son Kellen was on that team and on that defense. And after the block, he dropped down to his knees and looked to the heavens. So.
My son Andrew was at that game in the men's room because he drank too much hot chocolate, and I had to take him. And so he and I missed the block kick. And we had to come back into the portal and see all the BYU fans celebrating.
That was the game. BYU played in back-to-back Las Vegas Bowls that next year in 2008. Kellen had to chase Gronkowski around the whole night.
Man, he was a beast.
Yeah. 2009, Max Hall and the Cougars rout Oregon State 44-20 at the Las Vegas Bowl.
Now that was a fun one.
Yeah, it's 2 years later. Yeah.
2020 on this day, Zach Wilson throws for 5 touchdowns, runs for 2 more. As BYU routes UCF 49-23 in the Boca Raton Bowl. Remember, that was the COVID season, and they actually were able to get some fans in there because it was in Florida. So at least there was some noise, and then Zach just put on a show. And
that was
phenomenal.
That was one of the best BYU quarterback individual games I've ever seen. He was throwing dimes all over the field. It was phenomenal.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from President Dallin H. Oaks, president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who said this.
Over 1 billion people will celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ during this Christmas season. The whole world should do so. Even in worldly terms, Jesus of Nazareth is the most important person who ever lived. He is the principal subject of prophets and poets for over 6,000 years. He's the subject of the world's greatest music and art. He's the greatest teacher who ever lived. Most important, he's the only begotten Son of God and the eternal Father. He is the God to whom every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that he is our Creator and Redeemer, the Savior and God of the world.
Our quote of the week from President Dallin H. Oaks. And I love Christmas week.
Yes, it's great.
And I love having a game on Christmas week. It just adds to the pizzazz, and that's what we've got tonight. A special thanks to Elder Ronald A. Rasband of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and his son Christian Rasband, BYU Alumni Chapter Chair for the Orlando area, and then all the other Rasbands that joined the
show. Yeah, we had 7 behind Elder Rasband at one time.
That was great.
So next week, we'll do a recap of the Pop-Tarts Bowl and roll out our top 10 BYU sports stories from 2025. Former Cougar and PGA golfer Patrick Fishburne is going to join the show next week.
Yeah, because the tour's ready to start.
Yep, here we go.
And he's going to have a big year, so he'll be with us. Here's where you can find us tonight. Men's basketball here in a few minutes. BYU in Eastern Washington, 7 o'clock on ESPN+.
Yep, go right over and join us there. BYU SN Game Day is Saturday at 11:30 a.m. on BYU TV and ESPN+. You and I will be hosting that to get ready to throw you over to ESPN for that game. And then the Pop-Tarts post-game show will be back on BYU TV, on the app, and on ESPN+. So we'll be hosting the pre- and post-game shows from the studio.
That'll be the last hurrah for this season. And then you know what? Notre Dame's coming to Provo next season.
And don't forget, so Dave's got articles coming, a couple already this week. Really good articles. Look for him in the Deseret News almost every day. How many articles are you writing a week now?
At least 3.
Yeah, 3.
At least 3.
Sometimes 4.
Yeah, and the Dybantsa article got
Such
a lot
a
of
good
readership
one.
over the weekend. Oh, and the one I did that Kyle Whittingham was the Darth Vader for BYU.
Yeah.
That one got a lot of shelf life too.
Yeah.
I do have one coming up. It's about how really the way it works now is the quest for respect in 2026 starts here at the end of 2025.
Right.
And that's how important Saturday's game is. It gets you to 12 wins. It launches you to maybe top 10 in the final AP poll. And now with the guys returning, even if as long as Bear Bachmeier comes back and some of those guys, now you're in the top 15 to start.
Right.
And that matters. People go, no, it only matters when the first college football playoff poll comes out.
No, it matters.
If you look at November 4th, when the college football poll debuted, and the AP poll that was revealed 2 days before that, the top 6 are identical, and the top 10 are the same teams. It matters because they set the narrative of what everyone follows.
And the only reason BYU didn't get all of the momentum from the Alamo Bowl was because Jake Retzlaff transferred, and everybody wondered what they were going to do with the freshman quarterback. And so now he's not a freshman.
So win Saturday and
win
launch.
Big and launch into next year. And question for our folks, I know this doesn't have anything to do with BYU, but maybe next week we're going to find out if Kyle Whittingham is the new head coach at Michigan.
Wouldn't surprise us.
And we'll talk about him because he's a BYU alum and my old roommate. That would not be surprising, which is crazy that I'm even saying that. But could Kyle Whittingham be the head coach at Michigan? Wow. We'll give you some news on that next week when you join us.
Thanks for everyone on the stream tonight. We recorded this a little earlier so that we could both get to the Marriott Center on time.
Right.
Because that's where we're going to be when you switch over here in like 1 minute. But we remind you, Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
And by Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. See how Eddie can serve your team at Eddie.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com.
And our Re-Lyte Athlete of the Week presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And back-to-back weeks, it's AJ Dybantsa. You and I are heading over to call AJ's game right now.
Could he be the trifecta? Could he go back-to-back?
If he goes over 40 tonight, we might have to consider it. And don't forget that Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News.
Merry Christmas to everybody. We'll see you on ESPN Plus in a couple minutes. We'll see you next week on Wise Guys. We hope you have a wonderful holiday week. Thank you for making us part of your life. We love it, and we're just really getting started. It's going to be a great 2026 as well. Thank you.
See y'all.